Imagine a guy named Alex. He's on a date, and on paper, he's doing everything right. He's polite, he's listening, and he's hitting every mark. But inside, he's a mess of silent calculations. He's measuring her reactions, hoping for a nod or a smile just to validate that he's doing okay. I've been in that chair. I remember the feeling, the cold sweat on my palms, and that subtle quiver in my voice as I forced out a joke I'd rehearsed 5 times in the car. It didn't land. It felt heavy. And she felt it too. She didn't say a word, she just slowly, emotionally stepped back. Most men think women react to their words, but they're actually reacting to a biological mirror. Your nervous system talking directly to hers. You're broadcasting an invisible signal that you simply cannot hide with willpower. It's not about the script. It's about your physiological state. Most advice tells you to just change your mindset, fix your thoughts, and your reality follows. But there's a biological wall you're hitting. It's called honest signaling. Evolution designed us to spot incongruence because a mismatch between a man's face and his internal state used to mean a potential threat. Women don't just react to your words, they react to the energy sitting in your chest. If that energy is off, something inside them closes instantly. I spent years thinking that if I just mastered the right routines or scripts, I'd be set. I thought the words were the weapon. I was wrong. I was trying to use a map for a city that didn't exist. When you try to perform confidence while your nervous system is in fight or flight, you create an uncanny valley effect. You might try the winner's smile, but if your chest is tight and your heart is racing, it doesn't look like a win. It looks like a plea for mercy. She sees the fear written all over your body language. Here is the math of the situation. Your conscious willpower only controls about 10% of your behavior. The other 90% is driven by your autonomic nervous system reflexes. You cannot use 10% of your brain to override 90% of your biology. That's why you can't think your way out of a shaky voice. Women are particularly calibrated to see this. They aren't just looking at you, they are simulating your internal state within their own bodies. If you're anxious, they feel anxious. If you're calculating, they feel manipulated, and they slowly, emotionally step back. There's a hidden cost here. By trying to perform a version of yourself, you're trading authentic connection for a short-term mask. The long-term cost, you end up exhausted. Classy, good-hearted women will be the first ones to walk away because they sense the noise in your signal. They can tell you're coming from a place of uncertainty. This is what traps most men. They keep trying to fix the 10% when the problem is in the 90%. Thinking your way out of a nervous system meltdown is like trying to stop a train by shouting at it. It doesn't work. To change that invisible signal, you have to move past mindset and enter Bio-Reflex Calibration. I call this a Ventral Vagal Reset. It's basically a backdoor into your own biology to flip the switch from panic to presence. I'm still refining this myself, but after 3 years of using it before every high-stakes meeting and social interaction, I found it is the difference between looking like a guy who's desperate and a guy who is simply there. The framework has 3 specific gears. First, release. You take a sharp exhale that's longer than your inhale. This physically triggers the vagus nerve to lower your heart rate and loosen the tightness in your chest. It's the biological off switch for the nervous energy that makes you feel off during an interaction. Second, the smile to self. Before you even speak, take a second to smile slightly to yourself. This isn't for her, it's for your own brain. This micro expression signals to your amygdala that the environment is safe. It's the look of the winner's smile, the expression of a man who already knows he's going to win, so he doesn't need to fight for approval. Third, the frame shift. You stop standing there as a man trying to extract validation or game the situation. Instead, you shift into a man who genuinely appreciates the beauty of femininity. This isn't a tactic, it's a physiological choice to be a lover of women in that moment, focusing on who they are rather than what you can get. When you align your breath, your face, and your intent, the noise in your signal disappears. You stop being a predator or a pleaser and start being a presence. You trade the anxiety of performance for the authority of presence. The cost of skipping this, staying trapped in the uncanny valley, always almost there, but never fully chosen. Let's look at two versions of you 5 years from now. One is on the fragility path. You've acquired the shiny objects, the expensive clothes, luxury watches, and social status. You get attention, but you're constantly on. You have to maintain the mask 24/7, fearing that if the facade slips, you'll be invisible again. You attract hot women who are easily swayed by the flash, but the connection is as superficial as the status you're projecting. The other version is on the resilience path. You've mastered the 3-second reset. You don't need the flash because your presence does the work for you. You move with a quiet confidence that high quality, beautiful women find irresistible because it's authentic and speaks to their deeper feminine spirit. They aren't looking for the car, they're looking for you just as you are. This path gives you optionality. You aren't stuck chasing likes or trying to look perfect in a filtered world. So if you lose the car or the job, you don't lose your power. Your value is no longer a calculation of your net worth. It's a reflection of your internal state. You're set apart from society, not because you're hiding, but because you chose a higher standard of masculinity, a passion bigger than yourself. I'll apply this in 3 steps. Start with the 3-second reset. The moment you feel that clench in your gut or your breath turning shallow, stop. Just exhale. Make it last twice as long as the inhale. This is a manual override for your sympathetic nervous system that drops your heart rate almost instantly, shifting your energy from neutral or nervous to charismatic and approachable. Once your pulse is steady, move to the winner's gaze. Look at the room with the quiet appreciation of a man who already has everything he needs. You aren't scanning for validation, you're observing with a more confident, self-assured energy. Finally, try a micro escalation, a low stakes comment with zero expectation of a result. Imagine you spot a woman who's shy and introverted. Most guys approach with a frantic energy or a look on their face that shows they are unsure of themselves, which triggers her resistance. Instead, you use the reset. You stay calm and grounded because you aren't standing there as a man trying to extract something. Her guard drops. She senses the safety of your calibrated reflex, and the interaction starts to feel good for both of you. Attraction isn't a war of words, it's a synchronization of biology. If you're tired of the performative grind, stop looking for better scripts and start looking at your internal state. When you calibrate the reflex, the room follows. This is the small, almost invisible shift that changes how you are felt instantly. It's the move from playing the game to owning the ground you stand on. Subscribe to Better, actually, for more insights into the behavioral structures that no one else is talking about. No fluff, no nonsense, just results. I'll see you in the next one.